Imagine a vast wilderness where ancient mounds rose from the earth like silent witnesses, a land of endless forests and fertile river valleys that seemed to promise everything except easy conquest. Yet from this untamed frontier emerged one of America's most unlikely industrial titans, a state that fed the nation's factories, built its automobiles, forged its steel, and quietly powered the engines of modern America. Indiana didn't just grow, it transformed from a rugged pioneer outpost into the Crossroads of America, a manufacturing heartland whose steel and engines helped win world wars and whose assembly lines reshaped daily life. But behind the smokestacks and roaring forges lies a darker tale of broken treaties, racial violence, labor battles, and a powerful Ku Klux Klan that once controlled the state from the governor's mansion down. How did this modest Midwestern territory rise from wilderness to industrial power? And what does its journey reveal about the hidden costs of American ambition? Long before the first log cabin rose from the clearings, Indiana belonged to the land's original caretakers. Paleo-Indians hunted here as early as 12,000 years ago, following massive game across thawing landscapes. Over millennia, cultures evolved: archaic hunters, woodland mound builders, and finally, the Mississippian societies that constructed grand ceremonial centers. Tribes like the Miami, Potawatomi, Shawnee, Wee, and Piankashaw thrived along the Wabash, White, and Ohio rivers, farming corn, hunting, and trading in a world rich with life. European eyes first fell on this territory in the late 1600s. French explorer René Robert Cavelier, Sieur de la Salle, claimed the region for France in 1679. Fur traders and missionaries followed, establishing outposts. Vincennes, founded around 1732, became the most important French settlement, a hub of trade, Catholicism, and uneasy alliances with native nations. Life here blended French, native, and later British influences after the French and Indian War. Britain took control in 1763, but its heavy hand sparked resentment. The American Revolution brought decisive change. In 1779, Virginia militia leader George Rogers Clark led a daring winter campaign through flooded lands to capture British-held Fort Sackville at Vincennes. His victory helped secure the Northwest for the new United States. The 1783 Treaty of Paris formally transferred the territory, and the Northwest Ordinance of 1787 organized it as the Northwest Territory, banning slavery north of the Ohio River and laying the groundwork for future states. Settlement accelerated slowly at first. Clarksville, founded in 1784 on the Ohio River, became the first authorized American town. Veterans and land speculators moved in, drawn by cheap fertile soil, but tensions simmered with native tribes resisting encroachment. In 1790, Congress created Knox County with Vincennes as seat. The region felt raw, dangerous, and full of promise, forests thick with game, rivers teeming with fish, soil black and ready for corn. By 1800, Congress carved out the Indiana Territory from the Northwest Territory, with William Henry Harrison as governor. Vincennes served as capital. Harrison pursued aggressive land treaties, often pressuring or deceiving tribes. Population grew steadily. Southern counties filled first with migrants from Kentucky, Virginia, and the Carolinas. Many brought enslaved people despite the ordinance's ban, using indentures to skirt the rules. The early 1800s crackled with conflict that would define Indiana's path. Tecumseh, the brilliant Shawnee leader, and his brother Tenskwatawa, the prophet, built a powerful native confederacy to resist American expansion. Their base at Prophetstown near present-day Lafayette became a symbol of unified resistance. Governor Harrison saw threat and opportunity. In 1811, he marched north with militia and regulars. At Tippecanoe on November 7, his forces clashed with Prophetstown warriors in a brutal pre-dawn battle. Harrison claimed victory, though losses were heavy on both sides. He burned the town, shattering the Confederacy. Tecumseh allied with the British in the War of 1812, but Harrison's fame soared. Tippecanoe and Tyler, too, would later carry him to the presidency. The War of 1812 tested the young territory. British and native forces raided settlements. Fort Wayne endured siege. American victories, including Harrison's at the Battle of the Thames in 1813, where Tecumseh fell, secured the region. With native resistance broken, land opened rapidly. Treaties forced tribes westward, often under duress. Statehood arrived December 11, 1816. Indiana became the 19th state. Jonathan Jennings, an anti-slavery advocate, served as first governor. The Constitution banned slavery outright, though enforcement proved uneven. Corydon served as early capital before moving to Indianapolis in 1825. Settlers poured in, Southerners to the hills and river valleys, New Englanders and Germans to the north. Farms spread, corn and hogs became staples, but the state remained frontier, rough roads, isolated clearings, and lingering native presence until the 1830s removals. As Indiana matured, internal divisions surfaced. Southern Indiana leaned Democratic and sometimes sympathetic to Southern ways, while northern counties drew Yankee reformers and immigrants. The Underground Railroad thrived in places like Newport, with Quakers and free blacks helping escaped slaves cross to Canada. Yet racial prejudice ran deep. The 1851 Constitution barred black people from settling in the state, reflecting widespread hostility. The Civil War tested loyalties. Indiana stayed loyal to the Union, sending over 200,000 men, more per capita than most states. Governor Oliver P. Morton became a fierce Unionist, raising troops and suppressing Copperhead Democrats who sympathized with the South. Battles like Shiloh and Chickamauga saw Hoosier blood spilled heavily. At home, draft riots and secret societies like the Knights of the Golden Circle stirred unrest. Post-war Reconstruction brought modest gains for freed people, but Indiana quickly reverted to white dominance. The state industrialized slowly at first, but railroads crisscrossed the landscape, linking farms to markets. The real shift came with the gas boom of the late 1880s. Discovery of the vast Trenton gas field in east-central Indiana provided cheap, abundant fuel. Factories sprang up almost overnight, glass in Muncie, steel and machinery elsewhere. The boom attracted workers, immigrants, and capital, turning sleepy towns into industrial centers. By the early 20th century, Indiana had become a manufacturing powerhouse. Railroads made it the literal crossroads of America. Steel mills rose in the Northwest along Lake Michigan. Gary, founded by U.S. Steel in 1906, became a model company town. Automobiles followed. Studebaker in South Bend built wagons, then cars. Indianapolis hosted the first 500-mile race in 1911. Cementing its speedway legacy, companies like Cummins in Columbus, Eli Lilly in Indianapolis, and Ball Brothers in Muncie thrived. Agriculture remained strong, corn, soybeans, hogs, but industry drove growth. The dark underbelly emerged in the 1920s. The Ku Klux Klan exploded across Indiana, claiming up to 250,000 members, one of the largest state chapters. Unlike the violent Southern Klan, Indiana's version infiltrated mainstream society, politicians, ministers, businessmen, even women's groups. Grand Dragon D.C. Stephenson wielded enormous power, controlling governors and legislatures. The Klan promoted 100% Americanism, targeting Catholics, Jews, immigrants, and blacks with boycotts, intimidation, and occasional violence. Corruption scandals eventually toppled Stephenson in 1925 after a sensational murder case, discrediting the organization, but its influence lingered in conservative politics and racial attitudes. Labor tensions flared too. Strikes hit steel and auto plants. The Great Depression devastated factories and farms. World War II brought revival. Indiana produced munitions, vehicles, and supplies at breakneck pace. Post-war boom followed, suburbs spread, interstate highways connected the state, and manufacturing peaked. Hoosiers built cars, appliances, pharmaceuticals, and heavy machinery that powered America's consumer age. Today, Indiana remains a manufacturing giant, often called the most industrial state per capita. Steel production in the Calumet region leads the nation. Automotive assembly and parts dominate. Honda, Toyota, Subaru plants employ thousands. Pharmaceuticals, medical devices, logistics, and advanced manufacturing add strength. The state's central location, business-friendly policies, and skilled workforce continue to attract investment. Culturally, Indiana blends heartland values with innovation. The Indianapolis 500 draws global attention. College basketball, Hoosier hysteria, defines March. Indianapolis has grown into a vibrant city with sports, arts, and tech. Rural areas preserve agricultural heritage, though challenges like opioid crises, rural decline, and manufacturing automation test resilience. Politically, Indiana often serves as a bellwether or battleground, conservative overall with urban Democratic pockets. Its voters have helped shape national directions, reflecting broader American divides. Indiana's journey from frontier wilderness to industrial power is the American story in microcosm. Ambition carving order from chaos, opportunity built on displacement and toil, progress shadowed by prejudice and exploitation. The same land that witnessed Tecumseh's dream crushed and Clark's daring victory later rang with factory whistles and Klan rallies. It fed the nation's tables and armed its wars, built its cars and forged its steel, yet never escaped the contradictions of its birth. In today's era of globalization and technological upheaval, Indiana reminds us that real power often hides in the heartland, in the steady hands of workers, the fertile fields that still feed millions, and the quiet resilience of communities that have reinvented themselves time and again. The Crossroads of America didn't just connect roads and rails, it connected eras, peoples, and dreams. As factories hum and cornfields stretch to the horizon, the question lingers: what will Indiana forge next? The wilderness is gone, but the spirit that tamed it and the lessons it taught endure. The Hoosier state still stands ready to shape whatever America becomes tomorrow.